Cool. So we'll go ahead and get started for this Sunday afternoon session. Welcome everyone. Let's see, for our mentors, I see Grandma Dee. Our learners, we have Carlo, Ronnie, and the Zotai family, and myself so far, and others will be logging in, so I'll be keeping an eye on the waiting room. But we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to pull up our recordings. So last time, August 24th, we were listening to the Kiowa Culture Program recording tape number 176, which was on Kiowa language yesterday and today. And I believe we still had 11 minutes left in the recording. So I thought we could start with that and kind of start with the opening prayer from the second half of that recording, which was on Kiowa language today. So let me show the list. So here's all the list of the recordings. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Oh. And I know we left off at Guy Tampy was speaking, and I know he spoke for a long time, so we wanted to kind of listen to his speech again, because he said a lot of different things. But let me see if I can find the opening prayer here. Oh, hey, there's Dr. Kate. Okay, let's see. It was in the Kiowa Language Today session. Okay, so does that sound all right with everyone? We'll go ahead and start with this recording. It looks like it's about maybe 30 minutes or so, and then we'll see how far we get. And
now, what are we doing?
we're going to listen to it's the second half of the recording that we started the last time. Kiowa Language Today. It's I pulled it up on the screen. It's
Okay. All right.
176, Kiowa Language yesterday and today. And so we're going to start with the we're going to have the opening prayer from this recording here. And then I think last session we ended with we wanted to listen to Guy Tampy speak again. So I'll skip ahead after the opening prayer to Guy Tampy's speech. But okay, so we'll go ahead and listen to the opening prayer here. And I skipped back, but it kind of starts off with kind of a little bit of the previous recording. So, and then you'll listen to them introduce the new session. So, cool. Let me know if you can hear it. Okay, I see thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to go on mute so we can listen to it. So it's going to finish this and then it'll go into the new introduction and the prayer.
Oh, yeah, they get going, don't go for get those on me, got that. Can he go get that? Oh, go.
June the 12th, 1979. We are at the Wetzeline Church, and our subject today is the Kiowa language today. Those present: George Coyadati, James Silverhorn, Guy Tampy, Stephen Zotai, Isabel Two Hatchet, Margaret Dankoff, Yale Spotted Bird, Lloyd Toibo, Vicky Botger, and myself, Bissy Ahady. And our prayer this morning will be by James Silverhorn.
Ko to no boy ko ki da ta ko pai ko boy ke san de ko ke kom de ando ke kom de ke on el sulon de ke do ko ton el do gum ke do de ko do be o ke o te gui be one de ke do kon dom ke so te man ke ia bor te on de ke pont a ke ko a ki ke ha ke dem ko aho kom hon ta ko kan sa on te won te ke so mi do I do tan te ke kom danom do te no al ke tens o down te dom te ke kon te ke dai ko ke don san ma ko ke kom te ke do ko te ki kul do ka do ko lo ba kon te on te ke ko don ke do ke do te ke on te ko ya te dom te ko ke pi pe o te oia te ke ke don wi te ba ko ki te do ki on te do te dog iam down te dom te am ke kon we do ko ke kon we do kon te ton ki ya te on te ki kul do te to ki ya ko hai te ko ke ko te ko hai ki on te ana dog iam down te dom te ke kon te ke ko dom ko dom to yo ya ten from te on de at a ki ke po ko te ko te on ko lo ke on de hakon ta to kon te hai ke te ko te on de get a ki ko pa ko do iam dom ko dom ko te domo yom do ki wat ton ke ko ko do ko al sulo te do sa to bin ta do ko non de do sa I wana to dan ko dom bet o el ko te on de ba dom el ko no al ten o mel te dom te ko sulo te do sa te ke ko a ba ya hi do ke ko te do sa te ke ne do sa ton to ne dog elem don ko ton ki ande ko dom ko te ba gonde ko te ke do ton te ba mo ki kon te ba no mi ton da I ke dom ko dom ko te dom tai ke do ni o ke son ka so da so mai dom tai de so mai da so ke ko te pa ke so te to te ta ke ton de yo yem do ka bunde ke mo bet on de amon se al do kiem de on te dom te pa kon te yem kon tai ke kom ta ke dan ke po ye te ke po to non de ta kiem ke kom te te ki te ta te kon te lem honsen no tel ke ta te dom te pe ki ta en ko dom ko te ke kom te ke da ki dan mo den te on te ta to ke ta de ne do kiem ta dom te on ko ton kien do ta ke ton de ko ta ke tem ke ten so da te ka ton
All right. Oh, Grandma D, would you like to share any comments on the opening prayer?
Oh, well, he was just praying about it's springtime, and he's talking about spring and how everything looks. The flowers and everything is beginning to grow anew. And then he's talked about the Kiowa language and that they're here to do their part. They're there to, that God gave us the language, and so they're there to do their part and to keep it going. Now, my question is, how many words did you recognize?
I
Do you hear?
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I heard an ako at the beginning, ako, and then some onde, however, I can't say it all of a sudden. Onde, huh?
Oh,
Grandma, did he say goat de gyado?
yeah, he did. He means
What
the Kiowa goat de dodo or goat de, yeah. He's talking about God loves us.
oh, that's awesome. And then I also heard him say domoyom da ki. He said that a few times.
Yes, that's uh, God who renews the earth. And it's a term that mostly you don't hear it in Christian prayers. You hear it in the older prayers, I guess, the Native American church, but you don't hear it. That among when I grew up, I didn't hear that in a Christian prayer, but I did hear in the Native American church. That's a term they use. The God who renews the earth.
Oh,
Dome oil, that's renewed. Dome, is land. Dome oil, renew or fix, or I just call it renew. Dog eat.
oh, oh. Did anyone else pick up on any phrases or words?
Oh, he mentioned Oya de Gadol. And then another one is Ikuto and Kido Amdo. Kind of talking about the day off and on and Kekombo, about people. I don't know if he was talking about Kiowas in general or just people. So, Obaha.
That's good, Carlo.
Wahoo.
Oh, awesome. And I see Tonkine just joined us as well. Welcome. Okay. Any questions or any other comments on James Silverhorn's opening prayer? Okay. All right. So I know that I think Guy Tampe was the speaker that we left off on, and Grandma, remember he spoke for like 10 minutes a couple weeks ago when we last met. So should I go ahead and start with him and just play his speech again and see if we can kind of listen to his again and see what we can hear from it?
Why not? I probably forgot everything. It's kind of, I wish some of the other mentors were so you get another view of what I see, but I do the best I can.
Oh, we appreciate you. Miss Marion said she might be able to jump on, but she'll probably be late, so she might join us in about 30 minutes or so. So I'm just keeping an eye out.
Oh,
Okay, so let's see. So Guy Tampe, let's see. It was way up here. Somewhere here. Let's see here.
Dog eat on the go out. God, dog, dog. He got some kid.
Okay, right after her.
No. Solo ke ovo do. Hondo to sa do de to ko honan e koi to gu ko de ke.
No, that melody, that's Margaret Dankoff.
Oh, I think he speaks right after her. Let's see. I wonder if I can. I'm afraid to skip ahead too far. Sometimes I mess it up.
E do he kon ke hai ko. Nei, ya ron ke pi ko koi to ke a ke oi. Không thì tông ke da. Bây coi tông tàu oi cái sen này. Ấy tông tàu cái biến hầm đều thành gan bây thai cái đó này con bây tông thai của tàu này con bây thai của tàu cái tàu bây ở cái đó ở đây cái cái tàu coi tông thai này tàu anh tông cái bây thọ châu lò cái ô bồi tàu này ở đây có hôm nay ấy coi tông thai của ôi để bây đuổi có hôm bị đuổi hại có này yêu nào đó của đi coi tổng thầy sơn để bê thai cái đó này theo chú ấy coi tổng thầy đó để hay có hôn ảnh bê thai có hay có bị to coi tổng thầy này cái đó bị đó bút hôn sọc bị một hay một này có sâu lọ sâu đó này con bé thai đi này có cái ai cái con coi từng cái hai cái phi cọt và con bé thai cái con bé coi từ ra này để cái ai cái ôi thì đó thành đó nó ôi được anh có cái từng ra
Grandma, Hyundai inside though.
Hyundai.
So she said, oh gosh, no, I already forgot it.
Oh, she said the peak is be erased or taken away. That the meaning of Kiowa language.
Oh,
Peak God, that's there. They don't want it to go away. And so to be erased, I guess, from people's memories. Peak God.
oh, okay. Yeah, I hear them, a lot of them saying that. So, okay, that helps. Oh. All right. Well, I think this is where Guy Tampy starts his speech. So, all right, this is gonna be a long one, everyone. So take your notes. It's about 10 minutes long. So, okay.
Ko te on te ko kita so te to te ko te tau ko te do ke to te ne ko to ke to ki ko ga ten so ke ko kita to so te to te ko ne do in ko te ko pa on ke ten so ko ave ki ke to te ne aya hon te ga san te pe to pa koki ar pa to san ko ne ke ten so ko ne how they go get ten so they go don't get go get dog they go get 8 they but go no go do they go don't get dog man the how I get the key that get it to go get ten so to get ten so to get go to something he go cool and get caught don't get dog dog do monte che home che conta te don't tai on go dog go don't get on no koi to get on the go. Get eye or the key that get how get bad or the hon get high go there we go get don't run. Boat salt the key again go day dog go I'll get high that or the hand on their hon get high go with the go. Get come down ya get point they on the le como get go do ki go the way to don't get ki go get good they told them. So te ki a ki ko hai am kia po, to ki ko i kia pairu don't. Don't a ki do koi ku get on e don't pairu kia don't san na bi i to get. Do sai don't ki do i ko koi ku ko ne ana un tama do sai don't get to ko ne un tama. Hai on de a cold dot on the get dot or the going and dot side and go down time go to get the dog eat on the go at they go yes they go down time on the dot sa do I dot or go they come kia dot they won't get come dot side get come yeah Taki go a dot or you dot or get gone. Don't get home. Guy get hide it. Don't get they get hide it to go dot. I hide it or that don't get on. They on the coin to get all I could get all the coin go get all get on the dog ya dog koi dog get dog get get dog get dog get dog get dog on. Dog it I go now town. Giggle dog the dog side dog ya dog get dog and get. They going to get over. Get going to get them dog and goon. Hon de dog I go home dog I over dog on dog side dog on and I can belt dog I bone dog on the target they could get dog home go to get ag and get some belt. The how get hands of dog they got to get high got to get those on. They go them up. So get dog I could get go away dog go you eat a dog con give they dog go oh yeah say go get come that go the kia go a dog go to get home get go go Giang quay đồ coi quay có nổi đó hôn tới đó rồi đó ở đó thôi thì không hoa nói cả đó thì không kiểu này đó thì có hôn kẻ này có cái thêm ra một câu được thì có hôn kẻ coi tổng hại có cái tháo coi tổng sản con kẻ có coi kẻ công đã kẻ gu pel hon de ke dot o I am guni to kon te ne ko kon ko kia un pel to kom te get a ke monan pound ko ton de don't a ke get on ko ku ton ke don em ton to va ton ke ya a ke do ko gu ton ke to te como on ya ton ke te ke kina ke I to ko de ko haya sa do a to te ko gu to ko o te ton to te ko o to ko do e ka on no ma va ton ke ko to e ko a ke de ke kon da ke ko wel to ki do te pai to koi to ke a hao ke te ke so mi ko hao ke ten so da de on ke so te ki a ko ha ya ke do to ke ko o ya ko ki ai do de so ko at mo I go to pay to ki dog or they go get on o ye on they get out the ki good dog them ki go mo come on zai come on at the arm on mo ba on the no get go ko they go on the don't dog ya go on and go do the ta get but don't get wait all day ta on go get go go on on ta don't get on ta go on the dot or sun dot on a ta get the march on get high get and get high go but don't get I get go and bon second target and on that all day on time. They get get go don't get all the north on now they go how not that they go they don't go so they get obey go get all the high cook get on that go get calm it go on cap all you go on better through down again. Bang get out there go get those they on they get that great car they go get that those yeah obey go on get high good so the key that out or them get tens of that or get that but then they will eight dollars after the go eight car the way go to don't get out and get we on there yeah get bon they don't bon get yeah they on there yeah get don't get san go yeah they go town the say go key that Đó khi có đó thì có anh hai cái thì có giờ thì có phải được cái có nằm tha cái mà cú đó mà họ thay đó sẽ có số anh cái coi tu sản mà đó sai cái có ai cái đó cái nó để phải khi đây có tên của cái tên của vậy của cái đó mà bốn cái bạn có Pong kida, guarda do sa kida, porque donde de dosa, de onde que don't walk on my day. Oh,
Okay. Hi, Miss Marion. Welcome. So,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon. So that was Guy Tampy. Grandma D, I know that was 10 minutes. Would you like to comment on anything he said?
Well, there's so much, so many words that we don't really hear, but I'll start. Well, he started off with saying that he didn't know that we're here because of our Kiowa language, and he didn't know where or how or when Kiowas and their language began. But it was always good to hear Kiowa, especially Kiowa prayers. And then there also, it made everyone feel good to hear the prayers. And then along with that, there were songs that you like to hear the songs. And I'm trying to think. Then he went on, one part he talked about how the songs and then how you spoke to your children or grandchildren and when you did that, you gave them advice. You were maybe a little more harsh than you would, but it's called gu don't talk. And gu is advice. goose don't talk, goose don't talk. And you did that with your language to the younger people. And then he thought it was good that even he spoke to all his grandchildren were not full-blood, therefore they didn't speak Kiowa, but they liked being Kiowa and they liked Kiowa ways. And so that's what he appreciated that part. And then I'll try to remember. And then he spoke about, like I say, he gave advice to your children. And then I can't read my writing anymore. But was there a word in there that it was all along we talked about the language, and it was his hope and prayer that Kiowa, the language, would continue along with Kiowa ways. And that's the gist of what he was saying. But my question is, did you hear any word in there? I'm going to always ask you, because I love to hear them speak, and it means a lot to me. And it's just, I'm just like them. Perhaps someday what they say will mean something to you also, as you understand the language more and more. And so that's why I enjoy hearing the elders, because you don't hear that anymore. This is what, 50, 60 years ago. And so that's what they all wanted, that some of you, like today, you're doing exactly what they wanted done, is that you would listen, that you would learn. So anyway,
Dolores.
Hyundai,
Dolores.
Hyundai.
Translate. Give the description for oat goat ta. Oat goat ta.
Sympathize.
Oat goat ta. Okay. Yeah, because he mentioned that.
Oh, I didn't even hear that or remember. Yeah, it's sympathy. Sympathize. Oh, go
Yeah.
time.
He was just talking about people not knowing, the younger ones or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Omaha.
Oh, Grandma D, I heard him say, he goodle dog a lot, referring to red meated people.
He was just saying, including where he was talking and all the, I don't remember, but exactly. But that means you're including the Indian people, Native Americans. That's key goodle dog.
Oh. Oh. Did anyone else have any comments or questions for Grandma D? Any words that you heard? Oh, so in the chat, it's, I'll put it in the chat, but, it's red meated people.
Well, yeah.
I just clarified in the chat.
Which means
Is it
people
a
of
rich skin?
darker color, red skinned, I guess.
Yeah,
Because
there's
I
rich
think
skin.
everybody, Yeah. I'll tell you about this. Goo-tonto. I remember
Mhm.
my mother one time said at that time there were children, older ones, three elders. Anyway, she said, you need to, in Kiowa, she said, you don't, hanan big dog. You don't give them advice. And he said, he said, well, it's because you, we grew up in a different time. And we knew that we were being given advice. We knew what our elders were doing. But this is another day, another time, and they don't understand Kiowa. And so the way that Kiowas told it. So he said, I do it, if I did that, I would do it in another way, not the way, because they're of another generation and they don't understand. They would not understand. They would think I was doing it as scolding or as I'm doing. So that's why I don't do it. So that was his answer. That we lived in a different time and we knew what was going on. That was part of our life. But it isn't. We do it, but we do it in another way, not the way that you want me to. So I guess you're more thin skinned now than you were then.
Oh, oh, that's good to know.
I think that my children have been exposed to elder Kiowas ever since they were small. And so I can tell, I know that they know what being Kiowa or Native American is without being told that this is, just lived it. It was lived out before them, just like it was for me. So you pick up things without, someone pointedly doing it.
Oh, oh, Grandma. Mhm. Let's see. Miss Marion, I know you joined about halfway through his speech. Did you want to make any
Mhm.
comments on the part you heard?
It was basically what she said. He did, speak a lot about how we loved all our relatives and that everybody, and that they didn't speak Kiowa anymore, but today they were at that time learning and wanting to keep the language alive. And that was the purpose of their getting together. And it has the Kiowa language is a good language. He says we love our language. We love our Kiowa language. And it has come through the years. So it's been with us for many, many years. And he did make some comments which I missed on. And he's talked about the Iguldo, and then about how different people, different tribes, Probably, I'm not gonna comment on that. And then there's people who, he said they don't, in our English word, don't know the half, which means on anxiety. They don't know the half. But he says when the children learn when they're young, they don't forget. And they keep those words. But he says the future, he didn't know what it would be. Of course, we don't know either. But then maybe the words will be written down and they can learn, is a comment that he added. And the rest of what Dolores said just about covers everything. But he did have quite a few descriptive words in his presentation, which is good because it's important for us to have that recorded. And so I'll end it there. Oh,
Oh. So it sounds like maybe his speech and maybe all of these talks might be useful to transcribe or translate if we took the time. We could probably learn a lot of good vocabulary from these, especially from that last speech.
It's alive. Our words are alive. They're not dead. It's just the fact of using them again.
Oh,
They're not gone. It's that we don't use them. Because I understand what he's saying. So I know the words are not dead. And Dolores does too. She's the expert toy dog.
Well, I'll tell you that I didn't speak it all my adult life. So,
Mm,
it was just back somewhere and I can remember. I guess I'm thankful for long-term memory. Otherwise, I would not be able to contribute. Except to,
mm,
and I said, when I agreed to help, I thought, well, I can at least tell them if they sound like Kiowas or not. So that's my main.
that's right.
I'll
Mm,
correct you if you're pronouncing it wrong. Not as much as I should, I suppose. But
that's right.
yeah.
Mm,
all right. Awesome. We appreciate that. Okay, any other comments or questions?
I have a question, Melody.
One day.
Well ago, I think Grandma, I think she said something about you don't give them advice. I think she was talking about her dad or somebody, and her mom was saying something to her dad or something reference to that. And I think she said something like, "Hanon gu tonta."
Oh,
Okay. Oh, I was just seeing if I heard that right.
yes, good don't talk.
Oh,
Say good don't talk, good.
oh, like
Good don't talk. Good is advice or good words or how to live, and good don't talk. Good is
mm,
advice or yeah, and don't
mm,
is talk. So good,
mm,
yeah, good don't talk.
that's right.
okay. Oh, oh,
Oh,
wisdom, words of wisdom, I guess, because they, you know, they talk about, somebody will say, Angu. That means he's wise. And then I think you can use that if you're in a way of shooting arrows or whatever. I think you can use that term too, that you're a good sharpshooter, I guess. Using referring like Angu. And then,
Yeah.
is that right, Marianne? Angu.
Yeah, it sounds the same, but it's used in a different way. Yes, it sounds the same. There's a lot of words that sound the same, but it depends on what you're talking about. And then the definition of meaning changes. That's what I tried to, many times make comments about. Or whomever wants to learn. That's right.
oh, oh.
He hits them.
And I put that in the chat for anyone who wanted it. The gu dong do. Okay. All right, shall we play? I think we have like 11 minutes left of this recording. Okay. Let's see who the next speaker is.
Eikö Kiina taude Poutalia tauna eikö jattosanma. Touke eikö kielto koettuke. Kiet ääke koettuke eikö kietavut honto tauk idoko tulos touke kiet on. No onke touke sohutta. Häättel toude eikkoonta hone onko noita. Kähkuun teikö toude toi kuutte touthaatte koko. Käh koettusanma. Ei sääne koke koettusanma, kun teet koke on kanssana. Noani koke koettu haiketo. Noani koke on teke sovieko kiita toude pelpää keiko tusanma. Ja puhjum tee on teke ääke. Teode kähkuuta, ki konto haatsu kiukiko. Äkkukään ke saado. Ohje konde haatsu ke kokkeode kähkuutakin. Teode kiko touito, ke konka kiado ki konke tohi honte. Haja jäiko, vovatut oletsuke to. No eikä toko koetusanit, onko hajan hajeit auto, mutta konke haiko. Kun honpeimo heimoimar suloketo. Pahi on touke noika, touke ajate pulatetta hone. Ke servovar touk iem toukuvit autar touku jänäiketo. Touk hontar touk eiko touke keto. Touk iem touk amtot autetaan sulo touke autekähkuuntakin. Koettuukin toide puhuikä muu kuutit on. Puhuikä odet ähkuuntaa käve toot on touk ido komtoon. Ei heidät on konkiu, te tonko te toko. Tonkiat otoko ho kuutta, vetoo suanke toi. Vetään suthaasteke toi. Tuolla on jem kävotta, ne kant oko toutsu, vetota koi häjä toukkenet. It too late. Eikö huntsoikin, vetut odet sun muukin. Ei ole kiitä, keiko koettukin toodikin, että ääke noin, ja liikku koettukin pohjeikin, ja painotin äkkuuntakin. Emka äijällä häjää, kum häjää ukko saappeikuihin. Ukko tomeiku miitomo kolmei kemketävät huijas saappeikuihin. Koikuma mot, koikumam kopa teivät tuukin. Nonkin kemu honnoot soopa, tomeimukukin toikukin toodeen. Koiku ja selveikö koiku tehon tekevä, mutta Oire pedo ongo toke mo mai bata betono. Oire pedo do kido konta no age kakunda bata hi tega do. Do bahobo do kubo koya hage do tega tonke pahi ke doi kida doi.
Okay. Grandma D, would you like to comment?
Well, he said a lot, even though he didn't speak that long. It's Stephen Zotai. And he said that Kiowa is our ways are good. And it was that way until we went to school or became educated. Then we took up another way, and we and then it wasn't strictly Kiowa, and so that's where, let's see, what was the word he used? Uh, I'm trying to think of the Kiowa word.
Let's see. You're talking about where the Kiowa, gosh, he said they were held up high. He meant like leaders. Our people were respected as leaders. That's some poem I did.
Yeah. So,
on my,
there's something, anyway, it means, hapa.
there's like held high.
Yeah, hop, and then,
Held high.
everything
Highly
turned
respected.
hapa. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he talked about how Gehapa, things went another way. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what that. Gehapa, it went another way. And anyway, he was saying at that point, and then he said where everything was good whenever they spoke and had their Kiowa ways intact. Then education and schools came along, and then that's when something Gehapa, then it went another way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then were the ones who our parents and grandparents kept their ways, but when his generation, he saw it's our fault for the ones who, I guess, the reason why the language is no longer spoken, and some of the ways that the old Kiowas followed were no longer followed. He was saying his generation that it's our own fault, you know. Is that right, Marion? That's what he was stressing.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Because it's just going to the wayside. But he said today we should keep on learning.
Oh, aho, Grandma. Miss Marion, would you like to add anything or share any comments?
I think Dolores covered, generally everything that was said, and that we have to ask God to help us and try to, keep our language going, because to him and to the others, this is a serious thing, and that's the reason why I think he made those statements, that we should ask God for help. It's never too late before it gets too late, but we try to keep our language going, and just keep on learning. Obaha.
Oh, oh. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay,
Melanie,
Monday.
I got one. I know he was going really quick. I was trying to see if did he say bone hail or was it bon hail? It could have been, I could be way off, but I was just trying to decipher. I don't know. I like I said, he pretty quick, but I just thought I might have heard that. I'm not too sure if I heard it right.
I have difficulty hearing. What was that word?
Was it bone hail or bon hail? I could be way off. He might not even mention that. I thought that's what it sounded like to me.
Well,
Depends on what he was saying. Bone hail means like he saw something. Bone hail. But just the one word itself, you almost have to play the tape again.
well, in the middle when he started, he was praying.
Mm-hmm.
Asked God to
Yes,
give us
that's right.
have mercy on us,
Mm-hmm.
that we will keep our language and our ways.
Mm-hmm.
So right in the middle, shortly after that, he was discussing the situation, and then he prayed a short prayer.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
Oh, awesome. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and play the next speaker. See who's next.
Ärade kollegor, tosamma, kait aga da. Ärade kaiton gehatso, hatso kaitos alma dem. Na ha jag om dem att don't get habat alma ärade kida. Kaiton gengo gedale get agen lego on et så get habat alma ite. Vindo asso tengo noi dogo jätte. Ei hunto väärde dom taiga obehag data. Eit heidet nego obehag punkarbeit ego tonge gedok get age. Toko et tonge, it has a musical tone when you speak the Kiowa. Aga yet no zan my high school kab ekal en ba. Eiton dop, yan koi to zani. Ko chilo tom ki kai do le ko go me tom ta ma koi tom ki tom. You go tape recorder con you go become from Norman. You go they they thing go on the tom about the door there. You go chilo tom you bat again go koi go tom get door. Yeah. Ja tong get agi hon soy le ba tozano hon soy bel ba tozano ko agi te go ba tozano ma e tong ko e tong de oyo de ki da ke go pal hi go ba de go hon ba hon ge lo boy ko e tozano get ho ba tozano. Yeah, but they go home or I go get dog. I go home or I go get punk but cars don't get punk all. Hey, dang, go being the outdoor going go past 10 years, get up 15 years. Get those on, I get town, kem caught that I get caught those on. I know the kid that get on that caught it, come on, talk caught those on. Don't go eat the koi key, my dog, the koi my dog. Oh, you're the get calm. Dog can get down the sound, the man to koi stone. Oh, go no, my dog. Let's all on the pay the geek, I dog, it's all the aha, pogo. Do I'll con there go. Oh, got good to say that say, ayo mail saying. And get on back koi stone, ye leg about being hill. Babin helego reneman ke an a heintit o lugan ba goit o koit no zanem. Mr. Don Mohin do me gathad and boy potato yaman goit tom kint on about any time they to. Yet the gun but goit but o koit no zanik and but goit o koit no zan. De oyo de go ge do le go koit tom ge go pal ge ha pa go. Ego gobol ian ego no ego dog ego okay tong ego get high ego o do guto lo ego sando es ego ha pago ego gut heve ve gut sound don honem ono to ego gen topan to ego tol na ke go ego guto ego okay tong ego ego get high Koi no ge go hang on. No I got dole. Okay puto che go. E quindi high te per ugo ge mo he ona ge Rainman School Riverside of Fort Silanka la ge hey. Oh. I got okay and I got ia de ton to I got okay ton. Nega to go quei dole men koi to san ma go. Ego lit all tal do go poi gonya poi. Na io de ki oio de pelet okay de so holen go doi pate get 8 pate mo ham. Ya te reneman ke ge so mi hello gan bat okay to zane. Ba koi okay to zane. De oio de ki da ke bi do ba dog go ba hon to haya but haya ba long tego to ke ge do te poego ba dog to ke en santa la to ho go to ta only daddy mama hon go eat how ba pol down solo to le ki da ke haya ba pita so oh go ge Dog jag tänkte inte kunde ge så jättegå hej ja. Jag ju Texas skulle dock heller no house day bang a ye dog. A barn on good Okay, oi, ei, bola, ei, oi, basta, secondo oi, basta, che non, gango, ei, dog, tempo, ei, dog, Shonde, oi, basta, oi, de, go get hogged, okay, go stay, fuego, habe kongion galpal, so, I'm going, Double the sog, dog, get, gango, oi, basta, I know the dumb, the world over, it don't get, okay. Going go costume back though. Your paraphernalia. I ain't gonna get dog. That's the most beautiful of all the people throughout the world. I ain't heard it so long. Going, get dolbe. They all heard it so long at all. I heard it so get those on it. And they on phone while though.
Okay. Grandma D, would you like to share?
Hmm. Oh, that was the yellow spotted bird and from the Hobart area, and he's, I guess, well, all the participants in this program, he's probably the youngest one, and he speaks English. Oh, throws English in there and a lot, but he was talking about that today. He used a term that I've heard many times, and it said, today we don't speak Kiowa well. We don't speak, today Kiowa speak English to one another instead of Kiowa. And when they do, it's called Haba Dosanma. That's a Kiowa word, Haba, whatever that means. That means that, I guess, not really speaking real fluent Kiowa, I guess. And so we speak.
That, yeah.
And so they say today that's the way we speak Kiowa. Get Haba Sanma. That means you're almost speaking Haba. Ha is close.
Yeah.
And so he's saying we're almost speaking Kiowa well, but we're not. And then he said, he said that a lot of it was when they went to school. He didn't go to, he went to public schools all his life, never went to boarding school. But he heard stories about how they had to speak, they were punished if they didn't speak English. And so that's where everything, everyone had to go to school, all the Kiowa children. And so that's where everything began to, what's the word I want to say? This became less and less common to speak Kiowa and everything, even, and then he ended up with saying that they're hobbyists, they take over our dance, songs. He's talking about how he went to a dance somewhere in Texas, and there they were, I'll call them hobbyists. They were all decked out better than the Kiowas. And so that's just a sample of how they've taken over. So English, or whatever you want to call it, all ways have interfered or diluted, I'll say that for a better word, have diluted our culture, our language. And that's what he's trying to stress. Then he gave the example of we don't speak Kiowa to the young ones. And he said, you heard him say, when you get home, then your children are going to ask you in English, what are we going to eat? And you're going to answer them in English. So he's just saying how Kiowa is no longer spoken as it was. So, Marion, I'll leave that to her. She has a better memory than I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Hmm. Well, that was true. What Dolores just said is, and our people today that speak Kiowa and who don't participate in this language class, they'll say, Dehoy, Yahaba Dozan, which is the word that he used way back, and it's used today. And Haba Dozan, Mahaba to me means like you're just peeling off words, but it just also means they're not speaking it fluently. They're just going around picking up words here and there. And so he says that Yahonda, which means we're losing our language. And then he said there was another word people hardly ever use, which is Boka, which is also another word for, still losing our words. And that was, and that is interesting because we do. And he says the white people ruined our language, ruined our culture because they forced the students to speak English, and if they didn't, they got a switching, tiny, that means like get a switching. And then they put some of the students in jail. And they just forced the Kiowa people to speak the English language when they went to school as youngsters. And so that's becoming part of the past. Yeah, home dog. And then he now talks again, as Dolores mentioned, when he went to Texas and saw some of the dances, they went down there to do the gourd dance. And they saw these people, they're white people, they dressed better than the Kiowa. They were fancy. They had almost everything in there with their garments. And there were even some Congiones that were participating. And everything was copied. But other than that, that was his viewpoint, a general statement of what he saw, what he knew from listening to others, because they went to the government schools or the Christian schools where they were really punished to forced to speak English. I mean, I'm adding that comment. Otherwise, Omaha.
Well, he used the word that when he was describing the hobbyists, the white people in the finery, Dolby.
Oh yes, that's right.
That's
why I said
you're really swell. You're fancy. You're dressed to the nines, I guess, the younger people would say in slang. Dolby. So
Mm,
learn that so you can tell somebody when they're dressed in their finery. Name Dolby. Name is, I guess, it isn't, yeah, it means, name, it means you as an individual. Name Dolby. Dolby is the word for well-dressed or fancy or dressed proper. You just look very nice.
Oh, Nain Dolby.
Name.
Nain Dolby.
Yeah, when you're, or you could
yeah,
say
name.
that's the, I guess, what, pronoun? But
Oh,
Dolby is the word for fancy or whatever you want to use for
Mm,
being well dressed.
name. Name is like in. Name, in, like a Nancy. Name. That means you. Name Dolby. If you see some, if you're complimenting someone.
And bait is a group. You could say bait Dolby.
Mm,
But Dolby is the word.
Honey on Dolby.
Yeah.
Honey main Dolby. That starts with an M. Main. Main Dolby.
oh. I see a hand up.
So we know different communities had different variations of words and such, but when people make the reference of so and so or that family talks old Kiowa or that person talks old Kiowa, what's the distinction between just it being differences community to community and it being considered old Kiowa?
Well,
There is no old
actually,
Kiowa.
that's just it. There's no old Kiowa. Maybe a
No.
word or two. Some member might know a word or two that's old Kiowa, but to speak it in a sentence or to speak, I don't think there's that much old Kiowa. That's what they're saying in this session. And that Stephen Zotai, I think, was also that was pointing out that we do not speak Kiowa, the real Kiowa that he heard. So,
But it's also saying that the young or the ones who don't know, they're speaking their those on because it just means they don't know the words. Because they've gone to these schools and they were taught not to speak Kiowa anymore. And today, or even with these lessons sessions, I hear the words are not being spoken correctly or pronunciation is not correct. And so it's not really trying to create a new Kiowa. It's just the fact that the student is not speaking it correctly. So
I think
it's not.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I just think it goes back to thinking in Kiowa. No one can think in Kiowa anymore. I don't think there's a soul living that thinks in Kiowa. So we think in English, we do. And I think in this same session, somebody called it Akarkartozanma. What does that mean, Melody? Akarkartozanma.
Let's see. English, Kiowa language, like Englishy Kiowa, English.
Akar.
Oh, that's English.
Yeah. Kartozanma. So we think, and that's all because of questions that sometimes the Kiowa office calls for verification. The question or the word or the sentence is the English. It's not Kiowa thinking. And so therefore we do our best to try to fit Kiowa in, but actually the person, the individual asking the question is thinking in English, not in Kiowa. So therefore the question will be English Kiowa, or being strictly English, and then you're supposed to give them the Kiowa way to speak it. So, and you can't, and you just have to do your best. But they're right. That's all we can do is speak English Kiowa English Kiowa. I'd rather say car sometimes, but that's what they say.
It's like somebody asking, how do you say Valentine's Day? We never had Valentine's Day.
Oh,
And different types of what's the word for Easter? Well, we didn't have Easter. I mean,
or even
we're
days of the
speaking
week.
Kiowa.
Well, one
Well,
was, how do you write, sincerely yours? Well, Kiowa's then, we don't talk that. Oh, sometimes the best thing to say is Kiowas don't speak that way. So that's it. We don't think in Kiowa. So we
Oh,
can't.
mm,
So it's just what Yale was calling Haba. Haba Tozanma. Almost speaking Kiowa.
almost
mm.
there.
It's like you're
A little bit
picking
off.
at words. It's like you're peeling a word here and there, sticking it. You don't. It's not the sentence. It's not. The words are not quite there. Everything. Maybe
Oh,
one word and the rest is English. Well, there are days of the week, but that's based on a Christian. But
right.
those words were just made specifically. So that
They're
is
modern.
another thing. But based on our religion, people going to church, so they made the words made. I'm saying created. They're new, but they're not words that people use every day. These were words that the Christians used. Christian
Oh,
Kiowa used
oh,
to distinguish between Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I said, keto is Wednesday because the women went to sew quilts on Wednesday. Sunday is, donkey day.
yeah. That's
Well,
modern.
I
Modern
won't get
Kiowa.
into that. But just an example. Just an example. Just
Oh,
an example. It's like okay. That's it. Better not
oh.
say
We
no
have a couple
more.
hands up. I see. I think it was the Zotai house first. So,
Well, just to follow up, the reason I ask is from spending a lot of time with Hubert and Hattie. They were both fluent speakers and married, at that point, well over 50 years. Usually talked in the house to each other, just Kiowa amongst themselves, but then every once in a while he'd just laugh and say, I don't know what you're saying. And his, Apache too, and he'd joke, tell me in Apache. And then he would tell me separately, just when we'd be talking, and he'd be telling me different family stuff, and he would say, she talks some ways that I don't understand. And he would say she talks some old Kiowa. So that's where that question came from, was their discussions. And that happened, many times, where he'd say, I'm not sure what you're saying, but both of them being total fluent speakers, first language speakers. So just letting you know, that's why I was asking, because I'd never had the chance to ask what was the distinction. So maybe it was just certain words, older words from her family and community that he just wasn't familiar with. I don't know.
Well, there are probably households who did have old words and they did use them. I know I had old Kiowas for relatives and neighbors, and I'm sure they used what to them it was Kiowa, but to us it would be old Kiowa because we never heard it. But there were some that did use old Kiowa.
Oh,
Oh, Grandma. Good question. I see another hand up.
Melody on so I just wanted to comment on their talks about how they had seen at their time how non-natives are taking, you know, the song, the dance, things like that. And it wasn't a light issue. It was a very heavy issue for them because I heard it all the time. I heard it, I grew up in James Silverhorn's house, and I heard him how, he would be, and like you say, there are no bad words in Kiowa, but, it wasn't nice about the non-natives, practicing peyote or, doing things like that, and he was very upset about that. And I didn't realize, until later in life that, I guess I've heard it so much that, I knew growing up what was native and what was not. And that built my foundation for who I am today on standing up for American Indian rights, as far as like the Arts and Crafts Act, calling out people that are making gazillion, a lot of ahongia, they're making lots of money off of our culture, and they don't even know what they're talking about, my first instance was here in St. Louis when we had a Kiowa here talking about the gourd dance at schools. And I did some research and I found out he wasn't even Kiowa. And well, needless to say, he's not doing that anymore, so but that passion that they had about this generation and the next generations and probably the future of the Kiowas on how our gourd dance is all over the place now. There is no stopping it. I even asked people, where they sanctioned from and blah, 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 and then they'll give a Kiowa name, somebody I know. And that's unfortunate, but a lot of them just used the name that they knew, but yeah, that's, and I hope that our people don't forget that, don't forget that there are people out there trying to take our culture, and if you can stop them, I know that they didn't know how to back then. All they can do was try to protect what they had by not saying anything, to the public about anything. But it's gone beyond that, that it's, with the internet and everything like that. It's just, so I just want to add that because it was important to them, and and it was handed down. It was handed down to a generation. I was always wondering why I get so furious when I see these people, any people doing this, my own adopted dad did this, and it woke me up, so anyway, that's all I want to say. Obaha.
Oh,
Well, I'll say that it isn't just non-Indians, it's non-Kiowas. And Kiowas dress like some other tribe, and other tribes dress part of their dress as Kiowa and take like jingle dresses. I'll just give you one example. And fancy shawl. And so we Kiowas dance that, dress that way. And so it's just everybody. We don't know who we are, I guess.
Well, I call it a silent cultural genocide. When I give talks, because I give talks about this, and I say non-native, but I'm including non-native as people from white people all the way to Mexicans, to South America. I include everybody in non-natives because that's how these non-natives up here, these white people, these Takois up here, they think. You got to, kind of tell them, but when I say a silent cultural genocide, they all kind of like, give a gasp, and it's true though, because it is. This is what the government wanted, and they're not stopping on who's calling themselves a tribe anymore. It's just nuts out here.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's getting to where young people don't know what the Kiowas surely should know, but I've seen, I don't go to that many functions, but I can look on Lone TV and see other tribes dress not the tribe they are.
Oh.
And then that's why they dance the gourd dance. It's not their dance, but they're dancing it. The Kiowas dance, and then everybody, you can't go anywhere with that. I watched one, let's see, in the way up northeast corner, one of those tribes up there, Senecas or somebody, Quapaws, they were gourd dancing. So that's not their dance, but they're dancing it. So, yeah.
There's a whole group of Takois up there in Indiana, and their arenas director and their MC, everybody who takes care of the circle, were all dressed in tuxedos, and they dress better than the Indian because they have more money, or they get, they're able to get things because they have money, and they're a lot fancier than your normal American Indian, going to these dances, and they look down on you too. That I don't like that. That's, yeah. Obaha, I'll stop.
But don't you think if we want to keep everything Kiowa, well, I know the parents usually don't know the difference either about our traditional dress style. And I don't see them, well, I've seen them different places here in the East Coast, different people, as you say, they don't know their own tribal dress. And so they just will wear whatever they think looks Indian. Sometimes they're all mixed up, wearing different parts from different tribal groups. And then you have the jingle dress dancers, and that's mostly from the Chippewa tribe. But now it just seems people just want to wear that dress and get out there and jingle. And then just to me, just it's more like just making a show. And then we have the fancy shawl, as they call it now. But then the people who dance, the women who dance like that in the early days were the Northwest Coast people. And they would jump and skip around. I thought that was the strangest way for women to dance when I first saw that, because I'm just used to the more of our Kiowa C-date style of dancing.
Oh,
And here, these women, all different ages, jumping around out there. Next thing you know, it's all become like a big show, and they have a contest, and so they start wearing the shawl. People swinging themselves around wearing the shawls, and the girls jumping around with calling it the fancy shawl dance. And so that's turned into something else. So we just see people, I mean, at least I've seen people from other tribes just, really mixed up in their supposedly traditional dress style, or traditional dress, because they're just grabbing anything and wearing it. And the audience really doesn't know the difference, especially Alcoy
And they're paying
and others
back to
among our
see
own
it.
Indians. They're just
And,
going to a show. They want to see that. That's it.
well,
Omaha.
among the Kiowas, maybe the footman should be doing a more stricter job.
oh.
Got to have a whip man out there.
Yeah, take
Plus,
lessons.
now they're adding to the court. The gourd dancers was another thing. When Atwater was still alive, he was talking to me, and he said, they're even now having a head woman dancer for the gourd dance, and now they're even saying they have a gourd dance princess, and now they're having, there's, it's just all going crazy. We never had such things.
Right.
And
Now we have women drummers, or they're trying to introduce women drummers sitting around at the drum.
and
So
that it's not.
Wait, what?
That's
yeah.
I noticed.
Oh, Melody, there's so much
I noticed.
going on up here.
Yo.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that on the East Coast, and from the northern tribes, where some women were starting to sing at the drum, and I said, "That's the craziest thing I've ever seen." That's what they were into, and I said, "That's for the men." My goodness, what's happening to our men? And then it made me think back in my graduate school days when I first came to the Smithsonian, and speaking to the elder senior anthropologist. He was my mentor, and we'd spent time talking. And then he said to me, he said, this things are really changing. The women are taking over so many things. And he said, our men better watch out. They better get up on their hind legs and start barking.
Sister.
And when I saw these women singers at the drum, that's what I started thinking about what he had said. What happened to our men folk? They better get up on their hind legs and start barking. Take over and get back to being men. Because we need our men leaders. My goodness gracious. That's what we had our men for. Especially among the Kiowa.
Kathy, do you mean
Men do
women
the men
singers
things and the women do it.
with Kiowa? Because I know I've seen up
Not
north.
yet. No, it's coming though. It's, because
Well, I've
Like-
seen women singers up north, like Cathedral Lake. Like there's quite a few up in Canada, in South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota. Like that's
just like, yeah,
because
just
a lot
like
of
the
them are
people drive.
matrilineal. They're matrilineal societies. Like they're
Exactly.
not like we're patrilineal, but
Right.
a lot of them that are matrilineal. So
Right, but then you're wanting these young children, young kids that are going to college and all that, and feeling, wanting to help, the Indian culture, so they, think, incorporating, their culture with another culture, and then all of a sudden you got something else. It's strange what's happening, and these young people are telling us to sit down, because it's their time, and it's like, whoa, again, we're losing it. It's a cultural genocide. So a silent. It's happening. And it's sad. Because we have cultural identity as far as beadwork and things like that, and language. But nowadays everybody wants to combine things, and yeah, it's not good. Oh,
oh, can you see my screen? You should see it says greetings, seeing.
Oh,
Okay. For the question about we were talking about Kiowa thinking and old Kiowa versus, thinking in Kiowa. So I just wanted to share this as an example. So when we first are learning Kiowa conversations, this is some of the first conversational Kiowa that we learn. So honde onde and oi bon, and the literal translation. So if you go word for word, honde onde is wonderful, roughly translates to wonderful. And then aim is I to you. And then oi is again, and bon is see. It's a verb. And so you put it all together and it translates roughly to wonderful, I to you, again, see. That's the Kiowa word order. But if you were to translate it into English, to make it make sense in English, you would have to rearrange the words to make it make sense in English. And in English, it would say, it's wonderful to see you again. So it's very hard to translate from Kiowa into English. You actually have to go through several steps to get from Kiowa thinking to English thinking. And so that's why it is, when we have us as like a second language learner of Kiowa, we have to train our brain to stop thinking in English, and we have to learn how to think in Kiowa. And that's what our mentors, that's what our grandmas are telling us. We have to start thinking this way. And the way I see it is the way we think in English, it's backwards. It's backwards because the way we're supposed to be thinking is Kiowa, right here, this way. So that is, so everything, it's kind of like I like to think of it as we have to see the world through Kiowa eyes, and we have to really try to create new neural connections in our brain to understand Kiowa using this new perspective. So it starts with these what seem very small things, but you can tell this word order makes a huge difference in your perspective. So I just wanted to share that, as that's what Grandma Dee and Miss Marion and all of our mentors are getting at when they say that we have to think in Kiowa, is because this is more or less trying to think in Kiowa, because it gets more at what this means in Kiowa than what this means in English. This is English, and this is getting more at what the meaning is more in Kiowa, because you have a Kiowa word order. So that's kind of what a lot of what we do in our when we do our Kiowa practice and our conversations is we really try to train our brains to understand the exact breakdown of each Kiowa word and how they're placed in a Kiowa sentence. So I just wanted to share that as one way to kind of get our brains to think in Kiowa again.
oh.
Okay, we have a couple minutes left, and I think we have about 1 minute left on our tape. So let's see if we can finish this. Let's see where to go. Oops. Okay. All right. Now I don't know. This might be silence, but we'll see if anyone speaks here. So. Okay.
Norman Tepayana Ban Echa Tateayo Boat on the chalk, a dog that so that no I go being craig. Get go it don't I get to get go it to that. Oh, so the key. Hell, the key. Get go it don't I go. No, don't go. No. What?
Oh, Baha, looks like that's the end of the tape. Grandma Dee, would you like to share? Was that your father?
Yes, it was just talking about he went to the SIL, Summer Institute of Linguistics here in Norman every summer. And he was talking about, that's what he was going to talk about. He was going to talk about some young Kiowas do not speak Kiowa, don't know how to speak Kiowa. I guess he was going to compare that to the work that the people that he worked with did. They were the missionaries from the Wycliffe Bible translators. And so I guess he was going to compare how they learned the language wherever they were on the mission field. So they went all over the world, Ecuador, New Zealand, and yeah. So that's what he started, but he did say young Kiowas do not speak Kiowa. And then that was in, he's saying that he went every summer. So to help the missionaries learn how to write the language that they were to the people they were assigned to all over the world. So, but that was it. That's all. That's all he said. But that's what he did. He helped missionaries. They wanted to learn, like, I guess, I don't know how many all of you are too young to know when the 5 missionaries were killed in Ecuador. And they, by the natives. And the wife of one of them went back, she and her daughter, back to the very same tribe that killed her husband. And so, anyway, and they became, some of the tribe became Christian. So I don't know how I was going to say that. So that was the end. That's all he was able to say. I'm just adding what the Summer Institute of Linguistics was conducted by the Wycliffe Bible translators. And their mission was to get God's word in every language, because that's what it says in Revelation, that when every tribe hears the word, then there'll be the end of the world as we know it. It'll be the time for the new heaven and the new earth. So to get the message to so that's what he worked with. There were several there were Kiowas, Comanches, Arapahoes, Cheyennes, Cherokees, Choctaws, and I think there were other tribes that were represented here at OU. And the old, well, everything's torn down now, but it was off Jenkins and Lindsay, if you know the campus now.
Oh. Wow. That's interesting. Grandma, do you think, so it sounds like he got cut off the recording.
Yeah,
think-
he's always the last one, so you go back, he rarely ever finishes his part. He'll introduce it, he'll be the first one to tell what they're going to talk about, and then he's always the last one to speak. And I think he's cut off about every time.
Wow. Do you think the recording picks up somewhere on another tape?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're here, and those recordings are here somewhere.
Oh. Thank you, Grandma.
Oh.
Let me see. So I'll go to Miss Marion, and then Grandma and Miss Marion, we have a question in the chat. So Miss Marion, would you like to make any comments?
No, that's true. Louis was one of the, him and his brother, Charlie as well. There were quite a few of the Kiowas. William and Mamie Wolf and Parker Brace, I think, and at some times they would go and were part of the summer ended the linguistic class at Norman for the missionaries. So otherwise, he just said about a couple of words. I think he was there at Norman because he helped with the language. And so he was just beginning to explain that he was, there, that he was going to be helping, and then he was cut off. But Dolores explained what the classes were all about. It's very interesting. And I think at times, no, we don't. At other places, there are sometimes the Kiowa speakers or the language speakers will come up in other studies. But I think it's all really fantastic, and it's a great thing that they had going. I remember that when I was a kid because they spoke of that particular language class at Norman. Omaha. That's it for me. That's all. That's the only thing I have to say. Omaha.
Oh, aho. Awesome. Let's see. So did someone have a question?
Yes, I was wondering if y'all might be able to help us with a phrase, how it would be said in Kiowa. We were told a long time ago, but don't remember. And it came from LFA horse, and it was meant to be a name. It was when we were expecting our youngest, and we didn't share the gender, so she had given it to us both as a female and a male version. And I've spoken with Lahoma. It's been a while. I think she wasn't doing very well with her health at the time, and she was going to look in the family Bible and see if her mom had written it in there, because she said she often would do that when she thought of names, or once she gave anybody a name. And we didn't have anything special. That was just something that she said came, that she thought of while we were expecting. And they knew, I worked with Lahoma for a long time. Like I said, it's been years and years ago, but we worked together on some different jobs and such. And so we were working together at that time. So the phrase was either he comes with music or she comes with music. And we're just not sure how to say it. We didn't write it down at the time and should have. So I didn't know if y'all might have some thoughts on how that might be said.
What was it? She came with, or he
Say it
came.
again louder, please.
I can barely read it.
Sorry, my voice kind of goes in and out. So she comes with music.
Okay. Dog, gaga, san, ma. Dog, gaga, san is song with music, with song. It's actually song. Dog, gaga, san. And that's the way I would say it. I don't know. And ma is just to say it's a, and if it's a boy, you say ki at the end.
So is that, am I hearing right? The TSAN part, son?
Yes.
Okay.
Da, gaga. Da is song, gaga is with.
Mm. Mm.
Okay. Thank you. Melody, would you be able to help us spell that out? Or somebody be able to help us spell it? Okay.
Yeah, I put
'Cause it's
the
hard.
phonetics in the chat, and so I'm gonna look up the modified Mackenzie really quick.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
That's pretty.
Go, son, ma, or tali.
And that's one thing I've noticed lately, and I was just curious about. I've seen, on people on young girls' banners and such, a lot no longer, it seems, maybe it's just me, but it seems like it's fewer and fewer have the ma on the end. And I just out of curiosity is thinking, I wonder why that might be.
Ma. Well, it's because right now you're referring to a new name, which is for the boy or a girl. But in the older days, it was already maybe a name that came from an elder way back. It could have been so many generation after generation where it's passed down. And it could have been a warrior name. Maybe it's a man's name that was given to the warrior deed of the father, great grandfather, or whatever. And they didn't use ma or anything tali. It was just the name of an action, incident, a war deed, any of those kinds of incidents. So you don't always find ma or tali like that. But today, this is a newer name. This is something that's just completely new. Something that has not been handed down from your grandma or great grandma or whatever. So that's my explanation.
That makes sense. Thanks.
The other thing with people asking for names, wanting names for their children, it's always, I think it's a good idea, which I've done myself, for others' family, is write down those names and make sure they're listed and each one knows what the name is and origin, derivation, because I come across people who will say, well, my grandma gave me this name, but I don't know what it means. Or she told me what it means, but she's not here anymore. And I think it sounds like this, but it's supposed to mean this. And neither one makes any sense because if they don't know, and we're not that interested enough to keep that name and remember it, or their parents didn't write it down, then there's no purpose in having a Kiowa name. I'm not saying not a purpose, but I mean, what is it? Is it a whim? Is it just something they just wanted to do? Does that child know? Does that child remind it occasionally what that name means, is, and who gave it? Those are just my comments because I've come across that so many times. Or
Oh,
they don't know what the name means or how to pronounce it. They don't know the translation. And then they want someone to translate a name. They don't know what it means. And they're trying to think of, I think it sounds like this. But then what they're saying doesn't sound like a Kiowa word. And no one wrote it down. No one wrote down the English translation either. Oh, bah. I'm sorry.
oh, awesome. Good questions. Okay, so I put that in the chat. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up and we'll close up till next week. To close us out, Miss Varian, would you be able to say our closing prayer? Beidot. If you're able to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was off. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was not
Yeah,
on.
you were muted.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it's okay.
Okay. Ahode doggy and keep a bone son. Ahode yan on my only angel. Hego a son. Go goy echo bottom. Take go pedo. Ain't de key son. Gom. Omba. Honey. Goy dong on my gon. Goy dong got. Main high get on. Go 8 day. Goy dong got. 8 more, hey more, de key. Aeon de key. Ain de key. They goy dong. Dong got more get more soaked. they goy bean da hang it da. Honde onde Dolores and Dorothy bean da toy and da. Oyonde fail do goy tongia 8 hang ma. Goy con ba bait ode. Hode da king go inde ki. Honde get agya go. Da tai dog eating dog go. Da tai dog tongia yana. Dog da tai do and tongia. Deki. Goy get go bogo they go. They ain't dog. Outside bello they on the gun get agya on the dog. They on the get on the dog but handy dog ego. They on the key they goy my tongue dog tayo be tied over 8 hema target so 8 goy to hema dog get agya. Got to pay or high so yeah dog a holy dog ego. Get they target so 8 hema to goy don't get go. They on the get on the dog. I'm failed or dog he get on the dog. A holy doggy. A holy and a holy doggy. The tide overhaul.
Oh, thank you, Miss Marion. Appreciate that.
Trying to speak to our God. Give him the message. Be with us. Be with you all.
Oh, aho debat, huh? All right. Well,
Oh,
that,
onde.
everyone. Oh, have a good evening, everyone. Hega ba oi tong ta. Hega ba oi tong ta ta. Be good ta.
Oh, pe to.
Gặp ôi bông to.
Oh, hey, boy, I get so bad. Hot so bad. Whole time. I get so bad.
Oh, go they ba da.